Have you ever wondered if the pharmaceutical industry truly has your best interest at heart? It's a question that invites us to scrutinize the very entities we entrust with our health. The pharmaceutical industry, fondly known as Big Pharma, is a behemoth that extends its influence far and wide. But here's a thought to ponder. Are these entities the white-coated heroes we perceive them to be, or are they simply wolves in sheep's clothing? Recent controversies surrounding Big Pharma have sparked a wave of questions. Are they truly prioritizing patients over profits? Or is it the other way round? Today, we're going to delve into this intricate web of patents and profits, ghostly research, and the relentless spinning of the R&D roulette. We'll also touch on the human cost of these practices and the urgent need for accountability. Prepare to dive into the murky waters of Big Pharma's practices. Imagine a world where your health is held hostage by the very industry meant to save lives. This might sound like a dystopian novel, but it's a stark reality for many. The pharmaceutical industry, often dubbed Big Pharma, is notorious for its love affair with patents. Now, patents themselves aren't the villains. In fact, they're intended to be superheroes of sorts, protecting the rights of inventors and encouraging innovation. But in the hands of Big Pharma, they often morph into tools of monopoly, rather than catalysts for creativity. Here's how it works. Imagine a pharmaceutical company develops a new drug. They secure a patent, giving them exclusive rights to produce and sell the drug. This monopoly typically lasts for 20 years, a period during which they can set any price they fancy. And fancy they do. Often the price tag is so steep that the very people who need these life-saving drugs the most cannot afford them. You might wonder why they don't just lower the prices. Well, it's a game of profits. The higher the price, the more they rake in. And while they argue that high prices are necessary to recoup the costs of research and development, studies have shown that Big Pharma often spends more on marketing than on research. But it doesn't stop at high prices. Companies also engage in a practice known as evergreening, where they make minor changes to an existing drug and repatent it, effectively extending their monopoly and keeping the price high. It's a clever strategy, but one that leaves patients, especially those in low-income countries, in a lurch. This patent profit price gouging cycle isn't just an economic issue, it's a moral one. It's about how we, as a society, value human life. It's about whether we believe that access to essential drugs should be a luxury for the few or a right for all. Because at the end of the day, essential drugs should not be a luxury but a right. What if the medical research you trust is nothing but a ghost story? Picture this. You're reading a scientific paper, believing it to be the result of rigorous, unbiased research. But what if that's not always the case? Pharmaceutical companies, it seems, have a knack for making things appear and disappear. It's a bit like a magic show, but the trick is on us. They fund studies, often dictating the direction of the research. They can cherry-pick the results they like and conveniently sweep the rest under the rug. It's a practice that's as eerie as it sounds. Ghostwriting. A pharmaceutical company hires a writer to draft a research paper, then finds a doctor or scientist to put their name on it. But why does this matter? It's simple. It's about trust. We rely on these studies to make informed decisions about our health. When Big Pharma controls the narrative, they can subtly sway our opinions towards their drugs, while negative findings become invisible. It's like whispering sweet nothings in your ear while hiding a rotten truth behind the door. There's also the issue of publication bias. Studies that show a drug in a favorable light are more likely to be published than those that don't. This creates an echo chamber of positive results, distorting the true effectiveness of a drug. And it doesn't stop there. Pharmaceutical companies sometimes fund Me Too drugs, which are essentially replicas of existing drugs, with only minor tweaks. Instead of investing in groundbreaking research, they play it safe, recycling old ideas for a guaranteed return on investment. This manipulation of information can put patients at risk, choosing profit over genuine care. It's a dangerous game where the stakes are our health and well-being. Patients deserve the full truth, not carefully crafted whispers. It's time to demand transparency in medical research. We need to ensure that studies are conducted independently, free from the influence of Big Pharma. After all, our health should not be a stage for ghost stories. Imagine a casino where the stakes are people's lives and the house always wins. Picture a roulette wheel spinning, but instead of numbers, it's diseases. This is the high-stakes game played by pharmaceutical companies in the realm of research and development. Now let's be clear, research and development, or R&D, is a crucial part of the pharmaceutical industry. It's what gives us the medicines we need. But the problem lies in the choice of diseases that get the attention. Like a roulette player placing bets, Big Pharma often bets on diseases based on their potential profit, rather than the urgency of the need for a cure. Think about it. If you're a pharmaceutical company, where would you place your bets? On a rare disease that affects a small population in a poor country, or a common ailment in a wealthy market? Sadly, the answer is often the latter. The potential for profit wins over the pressing need for a cure. This skewed focus leaves millions of people suffering from neglected diseases. These are conditions that predominantly affect poor countries and have been largely overlooked by drug development. They're not profitable enough to attract the attention of the pharmaceutical industry. So, the cries for cures from these communities are drowned out by the clinking of coins. But doesn't it feel wrong? Shouldn't the focus be on curing the most dangerous diseases, or those affecting the most people, regardless of where they are or how much money they have? After all, we're talking about people's lives here, not just numbers on a balance sheet. The truth is, the world of pharmaceutical research and development should not be a casino. It should be a place where the health of the many outweighs the wealth of the few, where the urgency of need, not the potential for profit, guides the way. Human need, not potential profit, should dictate the research agenda. It's time to rethink the rules of the game, to ensure that everyone, everywhere, has a fair shot at health. Because at the end of the day, the house shouldn't always win. Not when the stakes are this high. Behind every statistic is a human story, often marred by unnecessary tragedy. As we delve deeper into the human cost of pharmaceutical greed, we're not just talking about numbers on a balance sheet. These are real people with real lives who are caught in the crossfire of a system that often puts profit before patients. Imagine being sick, so sick that your life hangs in the balance. The doctor tells you there's a drug that can save you. Relief washes over you until you hear the price. You can't afford it. The cure is there, within your grasp, but it might as well be on the moon. This isn't a horror movie, it's a reality for too many people. Sometimes it's not even about the price. It's about the neglect, the diseases that aren't profitable enough for research, the drugs that never make it to market because the potential returns just aren't high enough. These are the forgotten ones, their pleas for help drowned out by the sound of cash registers. And then there's the misinformation, the ghost-written research, the skewed clinical trials, the suppressed negative findings. Patients put their trust in healthcare providers, who in turn rely on the information provided by pharmaceutical companies. When that information is manipulated, the consequences can be deadly. It's not just the patients who suffer. Think of the families torn apart, the dreams shattered, parents who lose children, children who lose parents, all because someone somewhere decided that their health wasn't worth the cost. Healthcare should never be a game of Russian roulette. It should be about saving lives, not making money. It should be about the right to health, not the right to profit. And yet here we are, in a world where the price of a pill can mean the difference between life and death. Let's not forget these stories. Let's not let these tragedies be in vain. We need to hold Big Pharma accountable for every life lost, for every dream shattered, for every family torn apart. Because behind every statistic is a human story, and it's time we started listening. Change is not only possible, but necessary. As we navigate the labyrinth of the pharmaceutical industry, it's clear that we need to shine a light on the darker corners. The key lies in increasing transparency, making sure that every step of the drug development process is open for scrutiny. Imagine a world where independent research thrives, free from the influence of profit-driven agendas. This would allow for unbiased, accurate results, guiding healthcare professionals and patients towards effective treatments. And let's talk about patents. Stricter regulations could prevent companies from exploiting these legal tools to maintain monopolies and inflate prices. Instead, they could serve their original purpose, fostering innovation while ensuring accessibility. Finally, policies should prioritize public health over profits. This means focusing on the needs of the many, not the wealth of the few. It's time to ensure healthcare becomes a right, not a privilege. After all, aren't lives more valuable than ledgers?